Pretty thighs, shawty, she a dime. Demon girl, evil eyes, she be telling lies.
So broadly speaking, as a scientist, I like to educate the public about what I do. My blog isn't about my own work at all. I avoid that. It's about other scientific issues, frequently about pseudoscience or quack medicine or things that to a scientist are obviously false, but to a lot of people in the public aren't so obviously false. And a lot of people are taken in by the stories told about certain medical treatments, for example. And it's not their fault. They don't have the training. So I think one reason people are taken in is that they don't learn what's sometimes called critical thinking skills. And by critical thinking, I don't mean learning to be a movie critic. I mean, when someone makes a claim, a scientific claim or a factual claim about the world, critical thinking is kind of the way you think about that, and the sort of kinds of questions you can ask yourself or ask the person to convince yourself that it's true. So in particular, if someone claims that a medical treatment works, there's a number of ways that we answer that question. We're actually very good at figuring out whether something works or not. We can do studies where we give the treatment to some people and we give a different treatment to other people and we see how they do. Those all have to be done very carefully. They have to be to avoid bias. They have to have enough people in them. And when the person, so for example, a critical thinking skill that you learn is like, how do you just sort of ask, well, where's the data behind this? What is your claim based on? Are there published scientific studies? You don't have to go and read the studies, but do they exist? And if they do, who are the people who publish them? And sometimes you find like, yeah, there's published studies that prove that, acupuncture works. I believe acupuncture doesn't work at all. I think it's laughable. There's studies even that prove that homeopathy works, even more laughable. And I don't have time to go into why. I've written countless posts about it. But there are some published studies, and what you can also learn if you get critical thinking skills is that not every study is true. Sometimes the studies themselves are really biased. They're written by the people who really are trying to prove that something works. Sometimes they have a financial interest. Frequently, they have a financial interest in getting a positive result. Sometimes they're just, not very rigorous, and so they're a little careless, and they get a result that looks like something works, and they get excited about it, and they write it up, and sometimes they manage to get it into a journal, usually not a really good journal, but they still get it into a scientific journal. So, I think it's important that that students learn critical thinking skills as early as we can start teaching them. Especially, I think in general, it's good to know. But if you're going into, say, science or medicine, it's even more important. Mm-hmm. So I teach a class once a year to our medical students here at Hopkins, where I try to teach them. I only get one hour a year, but I try to teach them a little bit about how to be critical about medical claims about that they're going to hear during their career.